Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our meeting. It's nice to see all of you here. It's very nice. First of all, we will, if you'll please stand and have a pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. First, we have approval of the agenda.
Motion to approve the agenda.
I second.
To move to second, approve the agenda as written here. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion is adopted. Next, we have information items and reports. The first one is student recognition, and we're very happy to have the Homeschool Academy students here, and we have this Melinda Rossman here. I'd like to introduce to everybody that don't know her.
Yeah. Everybody's everybody. I know everybody.
I was going to say, you probably do.
Yeah, thank you, families, for coming to communities for our schools. And thank you, board, for having us and allowing us to get acknowledged. Acknowledging the kids is a difficult thing because I want to acknowledge them all because they're all so unique and special and provide such an awesome opportunity, not just for my experience as an educator, but to each other. Like today, I was standing and watching them at lunch break. There was a group of about 8 of them playing ukulele and singing together. There's another group of about 10 of them playing football catch. Another group of them playing jump rope, and some sitting inside doing artwork. And it's like there's no disagreement, there's no conflict. It's just the community. It's like it's just so amazing, the community and cohesiveness that we have. But the kids that I decided, the young adults and kids that I decided to acknowledge this time were folks that worked for 19 weeks to produce our first play. We put on a play called We Are Monsters this year, a full-blown musical. They rehearsed diligently. You want to give them a quick We Are Monsters? 30 seconds?
Sure.
Yeah, we want to hear it.
But we didn't choose this at all. They say horrors should befall us, and they wish we were all scary, we're different, we're quick and we're slow, we're strange galore. We are monsters, but we wanna be more.
That's the best music I've heard in a year.
They were just like, hey, you guys want to do this? We're like, yeah, let's do that, you know? It's just very little encouragement to get kids to do things at my school. And just so proud of this, that we were able to put on a full-blown musical. We filled the entire auditorium at Sandpoint High School. And it was as good as anything I've seen in this town. And we're still getting compliments. People see me in town, see Miss Keeley, one of my drama teachers. She directed the play, We Are Monsters. Yeah, Miss Keeley. She's and director and artisan herself. So thank you very much. Wonderful staff member. Awesome contribution to our school. Amongst many other people like Miss Hillary. Another amazing staff member right here, Valerie Putterson, Wild Crafting and Sciences. Another amazing staff member. But the children I'm acknowledging today go above and beyond what it is to be a part of a troupe, putting together a production. They know how to conflict resolution without adult intervention. They communicate with each other with our team building events and our communication rules and not rules, but our agreements that we start the year off with. And if there is a conflict, they come to me and say, Ms. Rossman, this occurred and it didn't stop when I asked. And that's our rule. If your first word of no, make that stop, doesn't get heard by another student, then they come and visit with me for a few minutes and we go read our agreements for them. But so these kids are like that. They take ownership of their day at the school, and their extraordinary cooperation to build what we put together in 19 weeks and put on the stage for our community and fill 250 seats. It was phenomenal. So I'd like to acknowledge several of them. A couple kids I see aren't here, but there is one young man I want to bring up here first to acknowledge. Ron Pablo. Please.
Yeah.
Ron Pablo Cardona. Ron Pablo Cardona started the year off as this really shy guy. Like, from here, he blossomed. He became our stage manager. And he helped conduct with Miss Keeley the operations of the whole show. He didn't want to be on the stage, but he wanted to help manage it. And I'm just so extraordinarily proud of this young man and the growth that I've seen him and on the ski hill and the personality that came out through athletics. Really was an awesome opportunity for me to watch him grow this year. So Pablo Cardona is one child I'd like to recognize. Young man. He'll be leaving to the spring next year. But thank you. Should I have them stay up here?
Yeah, maybe they can stand here and then we'll do
And then
certificates of
Phillips.
yeah.
She'll get to return next year as an 8th grader. Wonderful personality, is in several troops around town performing. She wrote her own play this year and produced it.
Oh, great.
And she was one of our leads on the stage. So what a great personality our school and what a good leader. Thank you very much. Another great young lady. I've known Pippi now for 3 years. She's been with the school since it started. And just such a wonderful child, always willing to step in and participate. And what do you need done, Miss Rossman? How can I help you get that done? Do you need me to help get that room cleaned up or help that teacher? And throughout the whole play, just helping guide the younger kids and helping be a role model for the younger kids. Powerful, powerful young lady. Well, Julia Bradford. Not just an awesome singer and jump into her role with power and enthusiasm, but one of the best writers I've ever met in my whole life. This kid, on any writing prompt I've ever given her, blows my socks off with her skill as a writer. So I bet we see the Bradford's work in the future. Ollie McKittrick. Come on up, young lady. This is my mini-me. So I'm talking to Pippi. I said I would like you to come to the board meeting and let me represent your skills and thank you for being such a great community member. And Ollie's like, I want to do that too. I love this kid. She's going to be great. And what a sense of humor this young lady has. But it's Pippi's little sister. Banjo McKittrick, Pippi and Ollie's sisters. She acts like she's shy until you put her on a stage with a role. And then she belts it out and makes Miss Rossman cry in the audience. And I'm like, where'd that come from? But this little girl is so awesome and such a sweet, beautiful personality and a great friend to everybody knows. She's part of our school. Thank you. Good, my little guy. I was just playing with your brother. I call them my brothers and sisters. They are my students, but these are my family. Like, these are my family. I call them brothers and sisters, and not just students. They're not just my students. I call them my little brothers and my little sisters. No, not yet. This is Logan Bradford. And if you ever want somebody to show you around Schweitzer, this is the man. And I just love this little guy because he's got so much energy and so much love for everybody. And he always has this beautiful smile. And how long was your hair a week ago before you cut it off?
We cut off 14 inches.
Oh my. Wow.
Beautiful red curly hair. And he popped into school one day and he's like, oh, I'm like, I love it. But this little guy, he's not just an amazing athlete, but he's just an incredible learner and contribution to our community. Thanks, Logan. Mila Corbin. She's the one that brings the ukulele. She got them. They were out there today. She's playing her ukulele, and all the girls and guys are sitting around singing. So she's an instigator of fun, a powerful voice, a lead character in our musical, and one of my leaders in the building. I'm just so thankful she gets to come back again next year. And her brothers and sisters are awesome contributions to the community. But this lady knows how to be a leader, and oftentimes she'll talk to me, Ms. Rossman, hey, I witnessed this, I'm not sure how to handle it, but she always comes and knows how to have a discussion as a young adult and get clarity and knows how to take ownership of that. But from a performance perspective, this gal has a future as a songwriter and a musician and whatever else she dreams about, just like all of these children here and young adults. They have quite the future, because teach them about vision and speak your future, and they're going to go big places. Mila, thank you for being here. That's not right. I think that you take that on the list. Did I have any adults on the list? Not a good start. But, yeah, Strapper wasn't in the play. I chose specifically to acknowledge the children that participated in the play this year. And because it was such a huge part of what we did this year as one of our creative aspects. That's great. Anyway, thank you.
We have a certificate for the students here if they would just follow.
And then I'm going to take a picture of you guys.
And then we'll get a picture.
Yeah.
So-
Take a picture for the
You bet.
But we want to shake their hands.
Yeah, they want to shake hands, give you a certificate. So, Juan Pablo,
One.
or she'll call your name and
Yep, thank you.
come on over.
Oh, you got to shake. Congratulations.
Make you do it all.
Well, you guys do
Gigi?
the whole thing. Congratulations.
Nice job.
Put your name as if it was officially on there. Tippy?
They're going to take a group picture.
Congratulations.
You'll get this. Way to go.
Leah?
Nice going.
Congratulations. Ollie?
She was calling you. I was saying it. What she's saying.
It's nice.
Nice job. Congrats.
Banjo? Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Logan?
Way to go.
Hey, good job, buddy. And Mila? Oh, congratulations. Thank you. Congratulations, honey.
Oh, good.
Congrats. Nice to meet you. I like your hair.
Congratulations.
Good job. Nice to meet you. Do you want us to get a photo? Okay.
We're going to get a picture of you guys first.
I don't know if we'll improve the picture or not.
We're going to There you go.
We're all going to get behind you.
We're not going to improve the picture.
That was an option.
So yeah, this was Photoshop sport. All right, whenever every single one of you is ready, take a bunch.
You hair.
But yeah, thanks a bunch. And another, and another, and 4, and 6, 8, 10. Oh my gosh. All right, one of those is bound to work. So thank you guys so much.
Thanks, guys. I'm going to take this off.
Oh. Are you allowed to?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
I only have to wear it if I'm going to be around kids or students.
I see.
Do something crazy.
Okay.
I've got some pictures I'd like you guys to just pass down. I had created this really beautiful PowerPoint with all kinds of pictures attached to my text. And the day I went to send it to Kelly a couple weeks ago, it was completely gone. And I looked and looked everywhere in memory, and I couldn't find it anywhere. And so I made another one that was quite boring, but I thought I'd bring you some pictures just to pass through and show some of the activities that we've done this year. I'm going to show you this before I do my little PowerPoint. Because now it's my turn to talk about my school, our school, our school. I always call it my school, then I go, no, it's our school. But we produced a book. We published a book. I taught a 14-week ornithology class this year. And the kids had a research project and an art project. And out of it, we published a book on birds of the Pacific Northwest. And then we produced a play. And then we also, the African dance picture there, we did a 3-day cultural workshop this year. Brought in a professional artist, and the kids, there was 50 kids that participated in that. And they learned about African history, culture, dance, and song. And then we put on a performance at the high school auditorium. on the third day. They made their own costumes, they learned drumming, and they learned traditional song and traditional dance. And we're going to do another traditional workshop this year. So what our plans are for next year is in the fall, we're doing a family and student talent show. And then in the winter time, we're going to continue a legacy of cultural event. And we've already picked the Celtic culture, so we can focus on Scottish and Irish. So we're going to do a Celtic workshop in the winter session and another performance for the community. And then in the springtime, we're going to put on another music hall. We just haven't come between two. We're you know, in this community, we let people decide. And then we'll go with what's most affordable. Anyway. But here's my little slide presentation. And we are the Snowshoe Hares, that's the name. The first year we started talking to the children and they wanted to be the banana slugs. And I was like, and then they wanted to be the bunny slugs. You were good. And then remember Melissa? And anyway, then the bunny slugs, and I'm like, no, we're going to be snowshoe hares.
Is that your permanent mascot?
I would love it to be our permanent mascot. It just kind of fits with who we are, our exploration. But that's something you will all have to decide. Jeff Dombrowski made that little icon symbol for me last year when we were trying to design the website for our school.
Yeah.
So, but thanks. That's the potential placard for the website for our school at this point in time, when we get one. Now just the arrow, right, Kelly? So the places we've been, in 2016, the year you hired me to design this school, we started a school with 16 children and ended the school year with just about 9,000 hours of attendance. As of last Friday, we're finishing this year, well, that's wrong, it should say 33,000 hours. 33,000 hours of attendance as of last Friday for this school year, with 103 children on our roster. And this summer, on July 23rd and July 25th, I have 2 orientation sessions. Right now, there's approximately 30 families that want to attend those orientation sessions. I really feel like we'll start next school year with around 120 plus students. Around 125, 130, that's going to be our maximum capacity for what we offer in our building with the schedule that we maintain. But there's some other creative ideas that I have floating around in my brain. Can you imagine that? Me thinking of ideas. I kind of like doing that. But that's where we are right now. Pretty awesome to know that our growth is successful. That speaks for itself for what we're doing and continue to do. Our growth entails several facets. Our students have enthusiasm for our programs. Do you agree with that?
Yes. Yes.
And our parents have really strong support. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
And there's quite a few families in here, so there's a lot of family support with what we do. My instructional staff. This instructional staff that we put together, people like Ms. Hillary, her talents are beyond. She could stand here for the next 45 minutes and not be done telling you all of her skills that she brings. And Ms. Keeley, her engagement with the kids and theater, and the other staff people that I get to contract to work at our school bring amazing talents that really attract the kids and keep the kids interested and keep the kids wanting to sign up. And parents constantly tell me, when am I going to have time to do my homeschool? My kid wants to come every day. Well, the way the schedule's going to look is, if we do get 125 students, each family would probably be maxed out at 2 days, and then a choice of a field day.
Right.
So you potentially could come a third day next year. But if we do get to 125 to 130, it's going to be 2 days a week that you get to choose, and an occasional third, case-by-case basis. We used to just do 1 3-hour-long lesson during the day with me and 40 kids in a room. Sean used to come in, Mr. Woodward would come in and go, everybody's engaged.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I mean, learning a party and nobody wants to stop playing, right? So it's gotta make it exciting. And we're still working towards that, but as kids go into every session, that it's exciting and engaging. But now we offer 3 90-minute sessions. The kids are all K1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 are in a classroom. And then there's a half-hour break after first session. Then they rotate to session 2. Then there's a 15-minute break after session 2, and then they rotate to their third session of the day. So everybody's there and like 270-minute day, but they're all engaged throughout the day. They get 3 choices every day. And that's pretty exciting. We're going to continue on that schedule next year. Our accomplishments, the Birds of the Pacific Northwest, we published it in the fall. And then Schweitzer Resort, I got a letter from the vice president of Schweitzer saying that they've based all their multi-day programs on the program that I designed and brought to them. And we've had 62 children in our ski and ride program and 20 parent chaperones. Shakina and Miss Bradford and Miss Moon and Miss McKittrick and Mr. McKittrick. And who else in here was one of my chaperones at the ski and ride program? Yeah, Coy, and some McKittricks.
Mr. Vieira.
Oh yeah, a couple times Mr. Vieira was there. But just such a huge community sport. I have 20 parents that have official volunteer background checks and everything, and they help support the chaperoning. Plus the ski school helps a lot. But super successful program. We produced our first full musical. Super proud of that. Really excited about it. This is something we're going to get better. What to expect? We're going to continue to offer arts and sciences choices, and we're going to continue to refine the quality of those choices, and that's my job. Is what I ask of my staff is, what do you want to teach? You know, based on, kids give us feedback. I do a parent meeting every year and take input, and then I do a student meeting every year and take input. And then I look at all this information and try to design what next. And then talk to staff, okay, this is what kids want. And then what I have them do is, like, for fall it's 14 weeks, winter's 12 weeks, and spring is 9 weeks. And they write an outline, a topical outline for their class. And once they've got the 14-week topical outline, then we talk about that, and okay, what supplies are you gonna need? Or what other things are you gonna need? And then I move forward on that, and then they move forward on writing the curriculum for it. And then I sit and look at the curriculum and attach state standards to it, so that it's viable state standards-based curriculum that we're providing in the school. And so we're going to continue to refine that. We're going to have a team building event for staff this summer and really just talk about how does the curriculum appear in the classroom and how do we keep everyone engaged all the time. And having them understand what your outcome is. At some point in time, I see us needing a full-time certified staff a few years down the road. Seriously. And that's another conversation for another time, but there's a lot of benefits to that. But still continue to bring in the contracting staff that we have, because that, you can't get that anywhere else. It's pretty amazing. Our arts department will continue to develop world-class opportunities for our students in music, theater, and various visual arts. One of the classes we're going to offer next year is performing for the camera, and they're actually going to make 3 shorts for each of the age groups. Yeah, so I mean, we continue to expand our arts department, and we'll have a premiere night, so I'll let you know about that. And we're going to continue to develop our environmental education and grow, really focus on the Northwest and Idaho, specific environmental issues here, and environmental education opportunities here. Last year, Monday through Wednesday, we were or throughout this whole year, especially this last session, Monday through Wednesday, we were filling capacity, 60 students, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And there's 20 kids in each class every day. Now, next year, we're going to have Monday through Thursday, so I project 43,000 hours of attendance next year, based on having 4 days of classes. I redesigned Thursdays. So I really feel like we set a benchmark for attendance this year in our building, and it really allows me to look at the future and say, okay, what can we continue to do in here in a safe, learning environment? But before I say that, I have many, many dreams about our school and our facilities, and Mr. Woodward's heard many of them in our conversation. I really love when you and I get a chance to speak and share my dreams about the school. And I would love to sit with you all at some point in time and say, I would love to see this next. Because I think if we build it, they will come. I mean, look, we built it and they come. And there's some other avenues to travel that even more will come. And it will still continue to be an extraordinary experience. But right now, we're reaching our capacity with our facility. And that's okay. And that's a conversation I need to have with all of you and whoever our new superintendent's gonna be, and my new supervisor. Anyway, lots growing, lots changing, but on behalf of myself and the 70 families in the school and 100+ students, thank you for the continued support that you show our program and our school and our families. And it's such a wonderful and unique program. I have people still calling me on a weekly and daily basis saying, what are you doing in North Idaho? How do I find out more about what you're doing? And we are the homeschool academy, like Conway School District in grade 4. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yes.
I have a couple of quick questions.
Sure, yeah, anything, yeah.
I can't remember, what do you consider your core staff? How many?
7.
7.
How many?
I was out there early in the year and you were fitting it. How do you like the new I mean,
Love it.
it's just
You know,
really, you've grown
I
into
love one wall knocked out to make one of the rooms larger.
Yeah.
To really facilitate a better learning environment. So that's the only change I would make to that building at this point in time is that one wall knocked out. Mr. Woodward knows which wall. I would love, we're gonna turn that whole front area into a botanical arboretum. It's already in the works. Stop by, come see our
Yeah,
gardens.
yeah. I love the
It's
garden
just in the
boxes on that.
process.
Yeah.
There's more that's going to be happening throughout the summer and fall. I would love to have a fenced-in playground across the street. But, you know, in the future, I would
Yeah,
love to see a
dreams.
10,000-foot addition off the back of the building. Yeah,
Okay,
we
yeah.
saw bathrooms, 2 more 1,000-square-foot classroom, and a 3,500-square-foot gymnasium / theater. I mean, you asked.
I did. I like it. I like the dreaming
There
bit.
we go.
Yep.
But yeah, you said a couple.
Yeah.
That was all one. Did you have another question?
Nope, that was all I
She
had.
decided to stop after that one.
Yeah, after the gymnasium theater.
Yes.
So where are your students from? Are they from all across our district, or are they concentrated in town?
They are from near Athol all the way up to Bonners Ferry, out past Laclede, and Priest River, toward Naples,
Oh, yeah.
Pack River, all the way over to Hope, and some from Clarksburg, but predominantly in the greater San Point general area. But yeah, we have a few out-of-district permits, but mostly everybody is within Bonner County School District. That's the 100 school district.
That's great.
Okay, so another question here. You mentioned your facility. I mean, one of the big advantages I see in your current location is you're on our principal campus. You know, so do you use any of the resources that are available? You know, at either the high school or the middle school? I'm thinking like athletic facilities, library, gymnasium, science lab, shop.
I would love to be in on their scheduling throughout, when they sit down and do scheduling for gymnasium use or for theater use, because that is a real tooth puller to get on the schedule. So Ms. Keeley and I and a couple other folks have already set up some dates for next year, and I want to meet with the principal and the scheduler at the high school to use some of their facilities next year. I want to get in there early instead of like in October, going, oh, we're going to do this, can we get in? Boom, that schedule for that theater or gymnasium is full for the year. And so trying to get in on a full schedule already is difficult. That's why I visualize what we can do off the bat with an investment. You know, we're still on our grounds, but yeah, I am going to try to get in on their scheduling run on, hey, these are the dates we're looking at for our cultural event in the fall and our talent show in the fall, cultural event in winter, and then in the springtime, our production. So definitely want to get in and use those more regularly.
Well, there's a question real quick.
Oh, are you able to schedule weekly time for the gym and the library, for example? Just every week have it for an hour?
Well, I mean, that's something we still need to have a discussion about. So it's an already full schedule, right? So definitely.
Yeah.
We have that community room, it's 700 square foot room, one of the walls that got knocked out, created a big community room. We use that for our fitness classes, and it's working out really well. And on good days, we can go out and we go across the road just in front of the school. We do activities outside in the forest over there. There's a couple big things, there's some new things outside. We use it regularly, daily.
What about library?
We have a very small library in our building, and there's really not all, there's never any downtime at our building. There really is never any downtime. You're either in one of the sessions or you're taking a lunch or snack break. A lot of the kids leave school and go to the public library. A lot of the kids, several of the kids go to the library and walk from the library to our start time in the morning. So they are using the public library.
And one thing that I'll do is I'll resend tomorrow the spring sessions calendar, and then you can get a picture for what are the kids doing this spring, and then it's fall, winter, spring calendars, and when you're done with fall, we'll make sure to get that to you all. And I was talking with our director of teaching and learning today. It's Andrew Murray, and we were talking about it's hard to really visualize it. So next year, I would encourage in September, get in there. It'll blow your mind. I mean, it's unlike anything that you probably have seen in public schools, but it's well worth the visit. And still, I'm shocked that it's still the only such academy in our state. And I've tried to encourage others to go after it, but I'm not sure why.
It takes care of itself, right? It really does. And the families love it. The kids love it. I mean, truly built this amazing community of people that are like, yeah, let's do that. Or no, I can't do that, but my kid wants to do that, but I got to do math on that day, so I can't come do that, right? But it's the sky's the limit. And I've built a couple businesses in my past. Plus, I was a classroom teacher for 15 years. And this is my 3rd year getting ready to start my 4th year doing this. And by the middle of next week, I'm sending you my entire year's schedule is planned out, all 3 sessions. So you'll know what we're offering for the whole school year. That's what I asked my staff to do. I said, give me what you want to do for the whole year so I don't have to keep doing this. Let me know what you want to work the whole year. And then you'll be able to see the classes we're offering for the entire year next year by next week. And after I show up to my house, then I can send it out to my family. You guys can see that too. But you know, public education, we're still public education even in our school, but the traditional classroom is nothing like what we do here.
No, it's not.
But they're still powerful learning environment.
Well, listen, I really want to congratulate you on such a successful program. It's amazing. Thank you so much, and thank you for the students for coming here.
I just want to add that I know, you've talked about why hasn't this spread elsewhere. I just can't imagine that it would take off the way it has here without someone of your caliber. I mean, you have really driven this thing way beyond what any of us even pictured, 3.5, 4 years ago. So thank you.
It's like I visualized this the last 5 years in my classroom. I kept saying, this is what it should look like this, it should look like this. And then I moved to Idaho and I get given the job of my dreams, so how can I not be motivated?
We're going to make a short pause here
Okay.
for those of you that may not want to stay for the rest of the meeting.
Budget and talk.
Discreetly exit.
But there's a lot of good stuff coming up. Thank you.
Thank you.
I love what you're doing. I love you guys. See you soon.
Great job. It shows in the students.
See you later, kids. Have a good one. Good to see you. It's so nice to see your family.
I know. That's my
Nice to see you.
Nice job.
Thank you. Get her out of here.
You guys just every time. Every time. This is like, here we go. Now we can jump on to the really fun stuff.
I want to listen to this. All right.
Oh, I heard it go.
You like her book?
Yeah, that is great. I know the hour.
Where this is? Yes.
I heard it go. You know what?
It went so fast.
Hey, Lisa, before we start back up,
Just going on us.
I wanted you to know that I didn't catch this until last night, but these are not listed correctly.
Oh.
Good, thank you.
So you can just mention that that's
I'll
being
mention it.
fixed.
Thank you.
I like my title.
Oh, yeah.
I noticed that too, I wasn't
You
even
be
gonna.
quiet. You be quiet. I'll take that gavel today.
Last year, perfect.
I was just gonna pass this on to you.
I got promoted by Lisa. Thanks, Lisa. Okay.
I love how I can business.
Keep
That
up.
works
Thanks,
out just
Melinda.
fine.
Okay.
Okay, we're reconvening here. Now we have action items to take up. And the first one on the agenda is fiscal year 2019-20 budget hearing and adoption. And Lisa House will present it to us. Thank you.
Good evening, thank you. As our chair, that is not correctly in this current document listed as the chair, I'm so sorry, and that will be revised before we post it on the website tomorrow. This is an action item that will require a motion to approve the fiscal year 2020 budget at the conclusion of my presentation and any ensuing questions. So this document our board has in front of them, and it will be posted on our district website tomorrow, pending approval this evening. There are no surprises for you as board members. The figures in here and the policy decisions, by and large, were discussed and deliberated last fall as you as a board configured the maintenance and operation supplemental levy ballot measure of March of 2019. This is meant to be an executive document for people that know nothing about the school district and just quickly want to glean some facts and figures and look at the structure of our district. What we send to the state is very different. It's several hundred pages long and has no narrative. It's just general ledger account numbers and figures. I think the most important thing I want to say tonight is actually to thank our superintendent for the past 7 years of his financial acumen. In the absence of that, it makes my job and the board's job very difficult, and he should be recognized for that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Very nicely said.
Coming from Lisa, that's high
Very
praise.
nicely said. Yeah.
I'm going to be brief. You have a very long agenda tonight. I'm going to refer to just a few pages. On page 3, there is a district overview. It states that we will have a $40.4 million overall budget, that we employ approximately 500 full-time employees. We're the 22nd largest school district in Idaho, with about 3,850 students. We do have a property tax levy that is $12.7 million next year. And for last year, of course, we don't have the data for the fiscal year closing here, June 30th. And per pupil average daily attendance spending, we ranked 62nd at just over $9,000. If you go to pages 4, 5, and 6, this is the budget summary, and it says, what did we as a district need to address to structure our budget for next year. Kind of the biggest driving force at the state level was the Federal Tax Cut Act of December 2017, which the legislatures had to contend with in terms of trying to project state revenues, and they ultimately came down from not only what the governor recommended, but also because the corporate and income tax collections were falling short of what they had projected. We did put together a 2-year maintenance and operations supplemental levy. That portion of the property taxes that we collect next year will be 35.1% of our budget. And we've also hired a professional demographer This past fall, and you heard his report in April of 2019, because we have, as a district, experienced 10% growth in the last 4 years, and that in the ensuing years is going to be focused on the secondary level. Then the other important thing that you know is that the state did not put into statute any structural changes to the way K-12 public education will be funded next fiscal year. There was a task force that finished more than 3 years of work, but ultimately there's a piece of legislation that is just going to be collecting more data before they launch potentially into going to a student-centered formula. The other thing I would share, again, you know that we, in our maintenance and operations supplemental levy, we have been able to restructure our salary matrices for the different categories of staff, and that there is an average increase of just between 10.5% and about 13.5%. And then probably most importantly is the lack of real capital funding in this budget. We have in our supplemental levy some money to purchase some new buses and some money for technology, but this is what really differentiates us from the other public school districts in Idaho. If you go to page 14 graph, makes the page that quicker, so sorry. Well, you get a sense of what's the content that's in here.
Right.
So this table, and I'm going to go to the bottom portion, says for all funds, for last fiscal year 18, this is the statewide data, and these categories of expenses, and that's how all school districts report to the state, and then for our budget. And you can see that capital objects and debt, so either through bonds, bonds or lease purchases, but bonds, and here we are, and we just have no money that is directly dedicated for capital improvements for our facilities and grounds. And 85% of school districts in any given year have a bond or a plant levy on the books, and there have been decades and decades that have gone by in our school district where we've had neither. And the final thing I wanted to show you is that we have, as a school district, since I've been here, oops, that's upside down, I need to change that. We have separated out in our accounting software all of the expenses for our maintenance and operations supplemental levy. This is not required by law, and when we report to the state, it's consolidated. So this just, as the final page of our budget document, shows exactly how we project those dollars will be spent next year. And those are my remarks. Are there any questions?
Thank you. I want to say it's terrific. You've done a terrific job with this, and of course Sean's part too, but I've gone through it, but it's nicely done and legible. I could even understand most of it. But,
He wants to read through the one you're sending to the state, the 200-page.
but anyway, thank you so much.
Any other questions?
That's
If
great.
there aren't, then again, we need a motion to approve.
Okay. In that case, I'll entertain a motion to approve the budget as presented here.
I make a motion that we accept the budget presented by Lisa Halls for year 2019-20.
I second that motion.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the budget as presented for 2019 and 20. Any discussion at all? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That is adopted. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Lisa.
And the next item we have on the agenda is the indefinite term maintenance and operational supplemental levy. And we have Lisa again to give us a brief on that.
As a result of our last board meeting, there were 2 questions from the board that you wanted answers on, and I'll repeat what the questions were and then provide the answer. So the first question was, can a school district in Idaho levy less dollars than what the ballot measure specifies? And the answer is yes. And the mechanism that every taxing entity in Idaho uses is something called an L2 form that must be filed on the second Tuesday in September. And you say what type of levy and the dollar amount. So for example, if you wanted to levy less, you would just fill in less than what was on the ballot. That was the first question. The second question was, if the board were to proceed with a November 2019 indefinite term supplemental levy ballot measure, what would the ballot's question look like? It would be something to the effect of, do you approve an indefinite term maintenance and operations supplemental levy, here's the important part, effective July 1st, 2021, in the amount of $12,700,000 per year. And the reason why it's July 1st, 2021 is that our current levy is a 2-year levy starting July 1st, 2019 and expiring June 30th, 2021. And you cannot, unless you're the Boise School District, have more than one supplemental levy on the books at once. The chair also asked that administration just kind of review why you're coming before the board for the first time to recommend an indefinite term supplemental levy and why a November 2019 ballot. So to recapture what I shared with you not quite a month ago, just from my position for the financial planning and the risk management standpoint of the district, it's certainly less than ideal or prudent to pivot every 2 years to go out for voter approval for 35% of our general fund budget. It is just fulcrum to the operation of Lake Pomeroy School District. For those of you that are taxpayers, you will be opening up your mail right now. By law, the assessments must come out in early June for payments due in December of 2019, and then property taxpayers have the option to contest it in August, and then we get what's called the September 30th valuation actually at the end of August. And it's that valuation that drives what the levy rates will be. So we would have, by the time we have to bring the ballot to the county, which is September 13th, 2019, we'd have a very good idea of what our net taxable value is compared to what we projected, and now sort of working with our new assessor. Again, we could communicate to the voters what we think the projected rates would be. I also think we think from a timeline standpoint that, say, delaying the ballot to, say, March or May of 2020, it's not going to bring any new information to the school district that would drive this decision. As you know, last legislative session, there was a bill that was at the very end pulled by the Senate chair, but had passed the House floor 100%, that would eliminate this option for an indefinite term supplemental levy and grandfather those districts that have one. So it's very likely this will be reintroduced by the same senator this year and probably will pass. So this is a fiscal year window of opportunity to pursue an indefinite term supplemental levy. We have, since I've been here, and this is the close of my 15th year, been repeatedly criticized by our stakeholders. Why aren't we bringing ballot measures in November of 2000, November versus March? And now here, there wouldn't be a recommended change to the dollar amount, and show, we're adhering to, I guess, or listening to that criticism. We also heard in this recruiting process for our new superintendent with the 7 different stakeholder groups, at the top of every conversation is, well, why are we having to go out every 2 years? And there's just so much that's pivoting on this, that it's a real concern in the community and in the different employee groups within our district and the business community. I think it would also eliminate voter fatigue and just some general fear among the staff or patrons or even the community in general if you knew that something that is operational, 35% of our budget, is now in an indefinite term status. And finally, it would facilitate freeing up administrative time and resources for academics and for the other strategic goals of our district. I think we're looking as administration for you to direct us to continue this dialogue, and I don't know if the superintendent has anything he would want to add. That's what I have prepared.
Thank you. I think you stated the issue very succinctly, and I think we all understand what the issue is, and thank you for that. Sean, do you have any comments before the board takes over?
No, I would just, I know I'm heading out soon, but I would wholeheartedly agree with everything that Lisa has stated, for sure, as well as I couldn't state any stronger that I believe very strongly that November is the time to do it. One thing that Lisa didn't mention is we have other needs, and you all have other needs that are very, very important as well when it comes to such things as facilities. And a delay on this, in my opinion, also delays that conversation from moving forward in a reasonable fashion as well. So thanks for asking.
Okay. Thank you. And we want to hear from the board. It's an important decision that we make, and obviously we all are looking at it from district funding to put it on a firm foundation so that we don't risk that amount of money every 2 years. So that's what we're trying to avoid. And the way I look at it, there's a good percentage of people that did not vote for this last levy, and you could probably assume they're not going to therefore vote to extend it indefinitely. So it's going to be very difficult, but not impossible, to pass this. And I think the window of opportunity is there, but we need to really be sure that everybody is on board, that the board is in the community that supports this is there before we make a final step to approve it. So I'd like to hear from the rest of the board.
I support the decision to move forward. I think that, as we spoke in the last session, the option for this is potentially going away, and it's such an important part of our entire budget. And I honestly think that there are people that are not in favor of our levies that will be in favor of making a permanent levy, because you do away with the levy creep every 2 years, bouncing up. There will be adjustments over time, there's no doubt about that. But it gives you a permanence that allows you to plan, which is a big deal for people. And I think that's important. One of the main things for me is the amount of time, effort, and resources that goes into it. And it's not every it hits the ballot every 2 years, but heck, you've got to start dealing with it the year ahead. So it's almost like a non-stop drain on resources when we have people that are doing those tasks that is not what they are hired to do. It is a part of their job, but it is not the highest and best use of their time. And so I think that, I'm jealous of districts that have it. And I think that we should try to accomplish that for our district for long-term financial viability. It would be catastrophic if this did pass. And we see communities that don't pass levies, and people go, oh, it's a scare tactic. You're saying this is what's going to happen. It's not a scare tactic. It's
When you
the
said
truth.
it's catastrophic if this doesn't pass, I think you meant
I mean,
our
a
2-year.
levy period, if that doesn't pass.
Correct.
If you've got
Not-
35% of your budget
Right.
attached to a levy.
Not so much this vote,
Not
which is
this.
on
Right.
making
But
it permanent.
there are other things that we need to concentrate on, and
Right.
going to our constituents with our hands out, begging every 2 years is a drain on everybody's time and resources. So I fully support it.
Thank you.
And I think it's a good idea on a November ballot. Higher voter turnout is a benefit for us.
Thank you. Gary?
I agree that levy support is essential for this district. I cannot support voting today to proceed with the permanent levy because of the timing. This board spent, months preparing for our supplemental levy. We had budget hearings, we met with stakeholders, we sought public input. We studied it very carefully for a long time and really carefully crafted that supplemental levy, and that was a 2-year replacement levy. So I think we're just moving too hastily with a permanent levy. The biggest thing we're lacking is public input. I mean, I did not know we were moving toward an action item on this item until last Thursday, and I'm a board member. It wasn't on our agenda until Fridays. There's just not enough time for the community, to have input on this. And a forever levy. This is not a 2-year levy. This is a forever levy. This is a step beyond what we've ever done before. And I think we need to solicit significant community input on this before we proceed. The other thing, in my opinion, we're missing before we proceed with this is a leader. We all know that we need a superintendent. The superintendent, will be the face of this levy. He's the one that's going to do the interviews, that's going to make the presentations to the community groups, to the service clubs, to the schools, to the churches, and until we have a better idea of who that's going to be, I think we're just going too quickly on this. Even if we postponed this until, say, August 1st, before we made a decision, and by then I would think we'd have an idea of a future of our leadership, and we would have a chance to solicit some community input, and we would still have, 3 months to prepare for the levy in November, which was much more time than we did last time.
Okay, thank you.
My question is, when do we have to have this to the clerk?
September 13th.
September 13th, so August would be soon enough to do that. I have some of the same concerns that Gary does. I also, I've had people come to me and tell me, okay, great, now we've got the teachers what they deserve. How do we keep it? We're going to come back 2 years from now and say, we still need this much money, and 2 years again, and 2 years again. I am for it, but I'm leaning with Gary on when we should make it an action item. I think I really do believe that the new superintendent has got a huge part in this. And we don't have one yet.
I agree.
I'm liking what I'm hearing here. I agree with you. It would be good to have it in front of the community as often as possible, that we're looking for their input, that we want to field questions, rather than have this be an action item determining that we're putting it on November's budget or not. I would like to see us, I don't know what we would call it, but I'd like to see us make a commitment as a board to set up some meetings, to solicit some information, to get some things in the paper asking the public for input, so that it doesn't just sit here as a wishy-washy conversation with no movement going forward. I don't want to waste the time between now and August just because we haven't taken official action.
That's not an idea.
On that item, there's two things that come to mind. First of all, yes, we know Sean's leaving, and yes, we know that we will be interviewing his replacement. And in my opinion, if he or she is not on board with this, he or she is not a good candidate. That's my own personal opinion, because we have to secure funding. This is a very important thing. So that's my comment on that. The other part is we know wholeheartedly, and as Ms. Halls said, constantly people ask, well, why do you always run these levies in these off times? You do this to try to sneak something through. So I think it's something that this is our opportunity to give our constituents what they want on the ballot. And,
I agree.
and no matter what happens between now and the next 2 months, in my opinion, it should not change our outlook on what we're going to do on November. No matter who we end up with as a leader, and no matter what kind of community involvement that we have, it's not going to change the fact that we need to secure this funding, and November's a great time to do it. And if we don't, if we miss an opportunity, it's possible that it's an opportunity that will go away.
Yes.
I agree that November, with everything you said, but I don't think we should go ahead and take an action item and put it on that we are firmly committed to it, and then go out to the public and say, hey, we want to hear your concerns. I think we go to the public and say, bring us your questions and concerns. We're making this decision early in August or late in July, whenever we make it. Give us your feedback. I mean, it's a little behind the scene to make the decision that we're doing it in November and then say, hey, community, come talk to us.
Well, first of all, we don't lose anything by delaying this.
I agree.
True.
And I think we can let the public know that we've already have, that we're discussing it. And we can get it out in the press again. We can talk to stakeholders.
Yeah.
And, I realize the concern. We don't lose anything but time. And the thing is, a normal
Time is
levy, we
critical.
start a year ahead of time at least. Well, the clock's ticking. If we're talking about November,
Yeah.
I think we need as a board to think about this in the, what if we are going to do this? We're planning on it, that we might do this seriously, because we're the ones that are going to have to sell this.
Right.
It's going to be up to us to go out there, and we need to really be certain that we can give it a wholehearted support. Another month or so, it gives us time to talk to constituents, to other people, get more feedback, and more or less get a feeling from them, or at least give them the opportunity to make their opinion known. At least make them think that we're may delay it a little bit so that we can get input from the public. I don't know how much we will get, but I think we need to also have focus on the goal in line that this is something that I think we believe needs to be done. Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, as you and I have discussed in the past, it's difficult to get stakeholders to come to our meetings
It is.
and sign in and make their comments. So
I agree.
in this case, I would like to suggest that we make a bigger effort, like we did with our strategic plan, and perhaps send out an email survey, see if we can get responses.
Well, my recommendation would be,
Hold meetings like we did with our strategic plan, and see if we can get constituents to come and sit down with us.
well, as you said, it's very difficult to get. But I do think we ought to, if we do delay this, to advertise it and have people come and speak at our next meeting. It is going to be an action item, a vote will be taken, and one way or the other, and we would like their input and encourage them to come here and speak. on
So
the
could
item.
we do an email survey, or could we do, something more than just ask people to come and sign up and speak at our meeting?
Yeah, it's so rare, especially in summer. I just feel like we're gonna miss the opportunity to hear from people.
Well, we are going to, I mean, it's,
Yeah.
no matter when it is, unless, until people see it on a ballot and
We were very successful
go
with
there.
our strategic plan participation.
Well, I don't think we have the time for quite as intensive
Not
a
as
meeting
intense,
schedule,
but-
especially given the fact that we will be taking a new superintendent and bringing him up to speed on academic issues, district issues. That would be a lot to ask in July. However, it would be nice to set up a special meeting that's held in town somewhere that's a little more in the public eye. And if we get 15 community members, we get 15, but it will have been something different.
Sure, Lonnie?
Mr. Chair, I think the difference in this and that is that in the strategic plan, you're really doing nuts and bolts planning with people. Like, the nuts and bolts planning for the levy, it's already happened. Like, we've already established that. So I don't think that we need
As extensive.
extensive multi-night things to have people come out, because we've already got. the
You're
plan.
right, it's not like the
It's
public
not
can
like
have
we've
any
got to
input.
reinvent the wheel.
I mean,
We
where are
already
they
know.
going to input?
Yeah.
The levy is what it is.
It is
It's
what
going
it
to
is.
remain the same.
Right.
It's the same thing. It's not going to
The hard
change.
work's already gone.
So
into it.
it's not like we want their input to, all we really want to know, I mean, if they're against it, they can say they're against it. We say, okay, we take that, and they're for it, okay. It is what it is.
To me, it's a different level, it's forever. It's forever.
And that is, and again, I'm kind of with Lonnie.
Yeah.
That's why you put it out to the voters. That's
Yeah.
when they give the input.
That's the point. We're not making a decision. We're letting them make the decision. That's what the whole vote is about. So, we're saying, so my recommendation would be, all that is, let it know in the next meeting, we meet in a month, but this is an action item, and we solicit their comments. It is different than strategic planning and things like that, where the input may change what the outcome is going to be. This is pretty well set in stone, yes.
Mr. Chairman, since everybody else has gone formal on, I would agree with the intent that I'm hearing from the whole board, that this is something we want to pursue. I'd like to see us make the effort with one extra meeting somewhere that's not right here on the second Tuesday. My own personal opinion, I would like to see us set something up in July that's outside the norm that we advertise out there, and we hold it in
Something maybe in a little more informal setting.
Somewhere at
you know,
Tango
in a
or I
round
don't know.
table like we did with the strategic plan, or, I'm open to the format, but I agree with Geraldine.
I'd like to see at least one special stakeholder meeting, but that
Well, that
can
would
be
be
discussed.
separate, okay.
It would be not part of our July board meeting, but
Well, I think if the board agrees, I think we can just commit that we should do that in July, and we'll set up a time and place
Okay.
and do that. I think as far as today goes, probably what we need, probably just a motion to postpone making a decision on this for one more month. Would you all agree
I'd
with
like
that?
to ask for, I'd like to make a motion that we postpone this for 2 more months till August 1st, to give us, more time for.
we don't need to set a date. Let's just make a motion that we're postponing the decision. I don't know that we need to set the actual date on it.
We weren't asking for a decision
Oh, yeah.
No, they're not asking
or
for a
vote for
decision.
anything tonight.
Correct. We actually don't need a motion to say that.
Okay,
Correct. Okay. Well, I think the intention's clear.
okay. Well, we will head in that direction.
Good. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you
Thank you,
very much,
Lisa.
Lisa. I think the next item we have here is the negotiated agreement to 2019 and 20.
Did you say you wanted me to do the whiteboard or no whiteboard? No whiteboard, correct?
No whiteboard.
Okay, so
Leave the chalk.
you've got in front of you two changes. Thanks to Geraldine, Carrie, and Brian and our negotiation team, we had an extra meeting. One is on the term of contract. That was just
only have one of
just a typo. It's two-sided, Geraldine.
No, mine
Oh.
didn't come out. That's all right.
Sorry.
I got a single
You
sided.
got the wrong one.
I'll trade with Kelly.
That's just a
Yeah.
little typo there from 172 to 171.
Yeah.
Thanks, Brian, for catching that. And then the second piece is just the language around maternity and paternity leave reflects new guidance from the U.S. Department of Labor. This language is in alignment with their guidance and has the same basic net effect as our original intent. So it just cleans it up so we're totally in alignment with what we need to be in alignment with, and that's it.
Thank you. If there are no questions, I'll entertain a motion to pass this negotiated agreement.
I move that we accept the agreement as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the negotiated agreement as presented just now. Any further discussion at all? Brian, anything to add? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That is adopted. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, now we have request permission to use school equipment for summer football competition. And we have Chris Knowles that can give us that.
Chris is not here, but Tom could probably speak to that.
Are you gonna do it, Tom?
The Idaho High School Activities Association always says that a school board must give permission to use safety equipment outside of the school year. So there's a 1-week summer camp, and so this is an annual request that we bring forward to you every year. So that's really staying in alignment with the Idaho High School Activities Association.
Thank you. Okay, any questions from the board, Tom? In that case, we'll entertain a motion to pass that.
I move that
Permission.
we approve the request to use the SHS football equipment for the summer camps at the high school.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we approve the request to use school equipment for summer football competition as stated. Any further discussion?
Well, but this, should we also include, there's a basketball summer camp, there's a soccer summer camp, there's a tennis summer camp. I mean, do all those need approval to use district equipment?
No. Do you want to answer that, Tom?
Just, it's the nature of the safety equipment of football, which would be the helmets and the shoulder pads. The other sports don't require that safety equipment.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that motion is adopted.
Okay.
Now we have the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion that we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
So moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. It's published here. Any discussion on that? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, the motion is carried. Okay, information reports.
At this time, I'd like to make a motion that we amend the agenda to move the item of first reading of policy 2380 to second reading list. It was brought forward as a first reading in our last meeting, and so make a motion to move that item into the second reading of policies.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we move 2380 item from the first reading into the second reading. Is that what I'm doing? Any questions on that? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that is adopted. Thank you. Now we have action items for the board. Second reading of the following policies. And Kelly, do you want to take it?
Yes, at the last meeting that I wasn't present, but Superintendent Woodward did present the 3 policies I had in front of you. Policy 1313, which is a new policy you had no questions on. if you would like me to just move forward,
Yeah.
Chair?
Yes, that
Okay.
would be fine.
Policy 1500, which was a revision, I did change in the annual meeting. I added January instead of July, and then under board meetings, we changed that to regular July meeting. And that was everything for policy 1500 for that revision. And in policy 1525, which was a revision to that policy, I did make the change from district to districts. So those edits have been made.
Okay.
I have all the other policies, which I can just keep going through if you
Sure.
would like.
That'd be fine.
Principal Jackie Johnson is not present tonight. So her first policy, 2420, which is the Title I policy, she presented on that, and you guys had no questions. The policy 2380, that was my fault. I apologize. I did not catch that that was ever discussed when I was preparing the minutes, so that's why it was on your agenda in the first reading. But that was discussed, and you guys had no questions on that. If I can just move on through the other two policies that were presented on policy 2700, graduation requirements. There was one error moving and correcting the word state. That was on the first page in the second paragraph, and there was no other discussion with that. And the procedure was provided for you. And then in the last policy, which was a revision again, it's policy 3530, and that was suicidal tendencies. The name changed to suicide, and I believe that was Trustee Lewis who recommended adding the word under Prevention 1, Title A, the word training, which I added that too.
Okay, thank you very much.
Welcome.
Can we put all these in one motion,
Except for the adoption,
except for the first
the
one, that's a new
new,
one?
correct.
Okay, and the others we can take.
Okay.
Okay, I will entertain a motion on 1313, which is a new policy and procedure.
Make a motion that we approve policy 1313, conflicting policies and procedures.
Second that.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve 1313, conflicting policies and procedures. Any further discussion? All those in favor of that motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, that is adopted.
So I'll make another motion to approve the revisions to policies 1500 board meetings, 1525 board meeting news coverage, 2380 homebound hospital and home instruction, policy 2420 Title I family engagement, policy 2700 graduation requirements, policy 3530 suicidal tendencies, revised as stated here tonight.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the revision of the following policies as stated in the motion. Any further discussion? All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. That motion is adopted. Thank you. Now we're down to announcements. And Superintendent?
Yeah, I would just say every other year, it's funny, I've had a child that was a senior at Sandpoint High School. And so the past 5, 2015, 17, and 19, so every other year I have the lens of a parent and as a superintendent, and blew my mind again, just the very nice recognition that kids are getting this time of year, as well as the scholarship support it's just insane how much money the community raises for these kids, and the kids that really want to go after it, they're going to get something. I mean, and the high school staff I know does a really good job of really kind of spreading the wealth a bit. They have a lot of their own scholarships that they give as well, as you know, and so I, as a parent, was involved with that piece. But then, just in my day job as superintendent, right, I learned a lot about again out at Clark Fork, the amazing support through the fund that they have set up. I think it was 113,000 this year that was given to a graduating class of probably 12-ish or so.
I think
I don't know
more
this year.
than that this year,
Is it more?
but yeah,
Pretty impressive.
It's
It
impressive.
is
Is that all local
impressive.
money or a lot of that college money?
It's college money.
I mean, but I mean like U of I, Boise State.
Yeah, yeah, and the last little real quick thing that I would also say is the fact that, since I'm leaving, I'm not gonna have a chance to say this. The staff here is unbelievable. I mean, I think you guys know that. I've said it over and over and over and over again, having been in a lot of other school districts. It is crazy how talented this staff is. I mean, it just blows my mind, and a lot of them are sitting right here. And the other piece is how well prepared the kids are when they go to college. Hopefully Sloan will be no different. We'll see next year, but having our kids go through the school system as a dad, holy cow, I think we could compete with just about anybody when it comes to preparing kids for life after high school. And the last little thing, just want you to know I've so much appreciated your support. I've been lucky in the 7 years I've been here to have very, very good boards and quality people that want to be involved in the school board. As a superintendent, that's one of the best gifts that you can get. So thank you for your service, and I know it's kind of a labor of love for you. You get a lot of grief, you put up with a lot of grief, and hopefully what you saw tonight with the kids, makes it worth it. So thank you for that as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Thank you very much for your kind words. Tom, do you have any announcements?
I know you've all been invited to graduation, Sanford High School graduation Friday evening, 6:30. I know some may not be able to make it, but I'm being very hopeful at this time that I would find your umbrella just in case.
I was gonna
I think
ask
we're going to
for
get a window. I think we're going to get a window.
What time, Tom?
It's at 6:30. Ceremony starts at 6:30. Yes. I'd just like to dovetail a little bit on Sean, a quick story. We started a scholarship for, under my dad's name, he passed away last June, for students who are going into science. So I brought my mom to school and got to introduce her to the whole student body, which was fun for me. But then also to give these scholarships out to 2 students. And my mom basically did exactly what you said. She goes, well, which students here of these 40 haven't received as much as others? And that's how she made her choice. So, and 2 very preserving students who are going to go into nursing. So anyway,
So cool.
It's fun to be able to give to students.
Yeah. Thank you. Casey?
We are right in the middle of trying to keep it all together.
I can imagine.
We are pretty excited.
It's a zoo.
So we've got big things. We've got summer coming up. We've got for 8th graders. We've got the end of the year field day for 7th graders. And so it's actually, if you want to come by, it's a super fun time here. We've got solar cars racing outside.
Don't do it.
It's great projects. But yeah, it's a little hectic like everywhere else. And so yeah, it's just fun. It's a fun time here. So a lot of logistics, as everybody has this time here, but it's really
Great. Good, thank you. Andrew?
Nothing from me. Thank you.
Anything? Brian, anything? Okay. Board members, any final announcements?
I want to say that you are the best superintendent I have ever served under as a board trustee.
The only one, but I understand that.
But the best. You are at the top of my list.
You want to be the best at something. I mean,
No, it has been an honor and a privilege to have you as our superintendent. And
This is our last regular meeting. We'll have more meetings with you.
That's
But,
right.
This is,
thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
it has been a pleasure.
Yeah, so I'd also like to recognize Sean for his service to our district.
Yeah.
And our students.
Outstanding.
You did a terrific job. We were fortunate to have you, for the 7 short years that you were here.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
Well, with that, anything else?
One more thing.
Well, I have also something to say because I served under Sean both as a teacher and
right.
as a board member.
That's right.
And I'm proud to say that I served under you for both of those.
Thank you. Yeah, appreciate it.
Kelly.
You set a good example. And, you're going to have, it's going to be hard to fill your shoes. So poor guy that was selected.
Yeah,
So
Kelly has
I have
something.
a question for Sean. Can you review the graduation schedules this
Oh,
week?
yeah. Yeah, so tomorrow is Clark Fort
At
at
6.
7 o'clock.
So,
7 to 9:30 is what I have on my calendar, 7 o'clock. 6 o'clock on Thursday, LPO, and then 6:30 Sandpoint High School Friday.
is the
LPO,
LPO
you said
graduation?
6:30 LPO?
6 o'clock, and that's at the events center, is that what we call it?
Sandpoint Event.
Sandpoint
Sandpoint
Event Center
Sandpoint Event Center.
on Thursday at 6.
Okay.
Yeah. I have those all right,
Yep,
correct?
yes, you do.
7, 6, and 6:30. They're all different. We should probably maybe standardize those.
If I may just remind you with our special meeting coming up on June 13th, please keep checking your emails. And then perceivably, just the board chair has asked that I remind the board that, and the public, that if you chose viable candidates, that the week of the 17th to 21st is when you would be doing your interviews of the candidates, and that is when we would have the stakeholder meetings for the interviews with the candidates as well.
And let me just add, the meeting on the 13th, it's scheduled for 3 hours, but
Could go for
it could go a little bit longer, so, and I realize you have busy schedules and things, but we just don't know. It depends how it develops.
So we should get, what's the timeline now? We should get a packet, you said Monday?
You should get a packet 2 days prior to the 13th on the 11th that will have confidential information on those that will be shortlisted in the opinion of the.
So I'd like to request a printed copy.
No,
I don't have a colored
that's
printer. And
I will, as clerk, I will help you. You sign the confidentiality. We all did, the board. I will make sure that you get any copies that you need. Anything that you need from me that comes into your email, I will make sure that you have copies of it. Just please be in contact.
Okay.
And I just have to say, board members, I will not be here that week after the 13th, because that's the week that I'll be,
17th.
the 17th through the 21st, I will be in South Central Utah with my daughter. So
We'll call you if we have important questions for you,
Okay.
Prue.
Yeah.
hopefully I can answer
Any
them on the
proofreading, if we need
13th. before I
proofreading
leave.
done, we'll talk.
Okay.
Okay, adjourned. Thank you all very much.